All right, let's bring in Michael Pillsbury. He's a Fox News contributor and senior fellow on China strategy for the Heritage Foundation. He's also the author of The 100-Year Marathon. Michael, thanks for being with us. Appreciate it. Do you think that Vladimir Putin is genuinely looking for an off-ramp at the meeting today?
No, I don't. I think he's looking for the best deal he can get. He wants to have what we call in the West a land grab. Obviously, this famous article he wrote about 3 years ago, 3,000 words, that Ukraine belongs to Mother Russia. He's sort of praising the Kiev civilization as the heart of Russia. So he wants to take back the core of Russia. And his constituents in Moscow, in the military, they love this idea as well. The problem is that China is watching all this. And I'm afraid that the consequences for U.S.-China relations are greater than the European side of this story, John. I think it's a much bigger, it's a global issue, not just a European issue, what the outcome of the summit today is.
All right, so lay out those consequences for the U.S.-China relationship.
Well, the most important is whether or not the Chinese leadership, President Xi, do they see President Trump as a really tough negotiator, or is now the time for them to do the same thing with Taiwan? In other words, China claims is their territory. Taiwan's not a UN member. We don't even recognize Taiwan as a government. So the threats to invade Taiwan have been increasing over the last couple of years. The number of naval ship patrols, jet fighters are sort of getting ready for an invasion. This is a green light. If Putin gets away with the land grab in Ukraine, it's a signal to the Chinese, hey, go ahead and try it. You can get a big chunk of Taiwan, maybe occupy the whole island if you're successful. Whereas the opposite is also true. If this is a successful summit, if there's a ceasefire, if President Trump succeeds, then the message to the Chinese is don't try it. This is not a good time for you to be thinking about using force against Taiwan.
All right,
so it could go either way, depending on what happens.
So there's the relationship between the United States and China, the relationship between the United States and Russia. But Robert O'Brien was on the program yesterday, and he believes that the Russia-China relationship has something to do with Putin coming to the table now. Listen to what he said.
If Putin plays along, Russia can rejoin the world economy. He can get out from under Xi Jinping's thumb. The Chinese have the Russians totally under their thumb now. They're buying gas at big discounts, and Russia's in danger of becoming a Chinese colony. And Putin knows that.
You know, Xi has described the bond between Russia and China as unbreakable, friends of steel. But historically, the relationship between Russia and China has been fraught.
Well, that's right. I agree 100% with Robert O'Brien. I'm a big fan of his. I think what is going on, just what O'Brien said, there's some distance, some friction opening up between Russia and China. When China put forward its Ukraine peace plan about a year and a half ago and got about 30 countries to back it, it really angered the Russians. They felt it was a stab in the back. How can China be offering its own peace plan? And the peace plan did not give land to Moscow. So this is in our long-term strategic interest, John, to make sure Russia and China don't grow any closer together than they already have. And this Ukraine peace plan outcome could affect Russia-China relations. So it adds another dimension of importance to what happens in Alaska.
Yeah, I mean, it's been described, and Scott Bessent will describe that in a second, as multi-level chess. But this idea of the United States re-engaging with Russia economically, Scott Bessent believes may put more pressure on China economically. Listen to what he said.
China's like a multi-level chess game because traditionally our biggest economic rivals have been our allies. With China, we've never seen anything like this in modern times. It's our biggest economic rival and our biggest military rival. So we're solving for several variables here. What we are trying to do is to get to more balanced trade.
All right, so if let's just game this out. If President Trump were to engage with Putin, get a ceasefire deal, get a peace deal, welcome Russia back into the G8, renew trade between Russia and the United States. There's a lot of business people, a lot of Russian business people in Alaska today. What do you think the effect will be on China?
Well, it will strengthen President Trump's hand with the Chinese. Right now, the Chinese are going around the world saying America is a doomed state, we're in decline, we don't have really a lot of power. And the Chinese have been very tough in these 2 rounds of talks in both Geneva and London. So that's assuming that there's no progress with Putin in Ukraine. If there's progress, if Trump succeeds, it greatly strengthens his hand with Xi Jinping. I agree with Scott very much that we want the good relations with China in the sense that we make money out of China, and we end this process of maybe 40, 50 years where the Chinese have taken advantage of one president after another. I think President Trump wants to end that. But I'm just saying this Ukraine negotiations is not a pure European story. It's a global balance of power story, and a lot more is at stake than just what happens in Ukraine.
Yeah, the great power stories, they're always the most intriguing, aren't they? Michael, thank you for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thanks, John.
All right, Aisha?
Hey, it's Will Kane. Click here to subscribe to the Fox News channel on YouTube. It's the best way to get our latest interviews and highlights. And click to subscribe to the Will Kane podcast for full episodes right now.